Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, this is John Paval with this week's Access Arts Live roundup of chamber music and theatrical presentations and contemporary classical compositions of all kinds. And boy, do we have a full plate going for you this week. We've got a theater piece about an icon of the American Civil Rights Movement coming from the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage. We have early music on the harpsichord from New York City. We've got classic chamber music from London and Baltimore. We have now music being composed before your eyes from New York City and Chicago. We've got it all. So let me get right to telling you about all of it. But before I do so, I need to remind you of one thing. If you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn. And we'll continue to give you more than 1,000 live performances online in the coming year, just as we did in the last year, which was our first year doing business. So let us get on with it. All right, we're having a little trouble. The Instagram did not work out for us right this time. So Instagram will get a replay of this rather than the live stream, which everybody else will get. And before I tell you about anything else, I got to tell you about an ongoing live stream, series of live streams that are ongoing. The Rachmaninoff International Competition for piano, conducting, composing is ongoing. It started June 14th. It continues till June 27th with 2 sessions per day in each of those 3 categories, live stream free of charge on YouTube. We will, in the links that we give you that go with this video, we will give you the link to the next round, which is a continuing portion of the first round of the piano competition. And that starts, well, it's starting right now at the same time as I'm live streaming, but it will go on for 3 or 4 hours, folks, because there are 4 or 5 contestants in each session. That's at 6 o'clock European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, and 2 o'clock in the morning down under in Australia. This is a competition that was just founded a few years ago. It's not one of the ones that have been around forever. It's founded in 2021 by the Russian Federation, and on the eve of the 150th anniversary of the birth of Sergei Rachmaninoff, they choose 24 pianists, 24 conductors, and 12 composers to compete out of 529 applications from a list of countries around the world. Trust me. They had 210 conducting applications, 167 piano applications, and 152 composition applications. Now, after today, they'll be going into their second round, and their second round live streams on the 18th of June and the 19th of June, that's Wednesday and Thursday, will be at 1 and 6 p.m. Central European time, which is 7 in the morning and noon, I think. Yeah, 7 in the morning and noon on the East Coast, and the adjusted times are forever on the West Coast and in Australia. And then next to it, then Saturday, there will be another round with vocalist. And then next week, it'll continue until the 26th. So there's a lot more coming along those lines, but at least we can tell you about that now. And if you want to hop off this is go listen to those pianists, I will not blame you. But let's move on to the individual sessions that I'm here to tell you about today. And the first of them is very now music. Wednesday, June 18th, Roulette Intermedium live streams a double bill of musicians who improvise now music. The trio of Chen, Peter Zummo, and Bex Burch on guitar, trombone, percussion, and the Philadelphia-based percussionist Mikel Patrick Avery. That'll be later today, much later today. No, actually, that's on Wednesday. It's the 18th at 8 in the evening, East Coast time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 in the morning in Europe, and 10 o'clock in the morning Thursday morning down under in Australia. This is a $30 ticket if you're going to see it in person in New York. That trio of Chen, Peter Zummo, and Bex Burch are on the guitar, trombone, and percussion. And then Mikel, Patrick Avery, he's a drummer, composer, improviser. They'll just be creating these things for you as they go along. If you like now music, this is now. Okay, so then we move on from that. What do we have going on for you next, John? Next up is some more now music. A oboe and saxophone duo, I believe this is. Yeah, and this is while Roulette Intermedium is in New York. Chicago has its own very vital new composition scene. Wednesday evening in Chicago, June 18th, New Music Chicago live streams The Blank Experiments, oboist Ava Worth, and saxophonist Andrew Hostler playing a concert they call Faux Fouillant. Faux Fouillant is a French expression that you use when you sort of talk around something in order to avoid answering a question. It's basically what the French do all the time. Anyway, this will be at 7:30 Chicago time, which is 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 2:30 in the morning in Europe, and 10:30 on Thursday morning down under in Australia. The Experiment is a new music ensemble, and what they do is they give commissions to other people to play new music that they can play. So they have members located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Cleveland, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, and Wichita. These two members are not all of the members in the group. I think I have a photo of the whole group for you. Yeah, here's a photo of the whole group, The Blank Experiment. And so they'll be doing pieces like a piece called Faux Fouillant by Robert LeMay for oboe and soprano saxophone, a piece called Those Lights for tenor saxophone. Then there'll be some solo oboe pieces, a piece by Greg Steinke called Four Desultory Episodes. Most of these are either world premieres, and they are premiered by The Blank Experiment itself. So there's a long list. The last one of them is Robert Gross, his piece called City of the Big Shoulders for oboe and tenor saxophone. Once again, you have a second chance on Wednesday evening. If you like now music, this music is now. that you can be sure of. I don't know anything else I can say about it, but I can tell you it's now. And I think there's a value in knowing what kind of music is being created now, whether it's particularly your cup of tea or not. Anyway, I don't feel I can ignore it. Next up, and then on Thursday, now, if you want to get back to more very traditional, straight classic music, this is one for you. The fairly new Invictus piano trio plays music by Frank Bridge, Shostakovich, and Mendelssohn for St. Mary's Perivale Thursday weekly live stream on June 19th. That'll be at 3 in the afternoon European time, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, 6 in the morning on the West Coast, 11 o'clock at night down under in Australia. The Invictus is a three-person group. Rosemary Gilbart-Smith is the violinist, Catherine Brooker on the cello, Tuck K. Loki on the piano. And I took that picture there from their first concert appearance, which was at a benefit for the Ukraine back in 2022, where they played, among other things, music by Frank Bridge, miniatures for violin, cello, and piano. And they'll be playing that again on Thursday this week, along with the Shostakovich, which is the trio number 1 in C minor, Opus 8, and Mendelssohn's Trio in D minor, Opus 49. Very classic music. These are three musicians who all embraced their instruments when they were like 4 or 5, 6 years old. They all went to the Royal Academy of Music. That's not where they got together, though. They're all grown up and they've had very fulfilling careers of different kinds. But now they're starting to play together, and you can expect it to be a high quality classical music, chamber music afternoon or morning, depending on where it is you live. Then coming after that, on Thursday, we have another of our weekly recitals that we're always telling you about. And this one is, well, you may ask, what does harpsichord music have to do with European legal systems? Well, you can find out Thursday, June 19th, when Midtown Concerts live streams harpsichordist Marc Bellassai's recital, which is based on a catalog of high crimes and musical misdemeanors, according to Marc. Anyway, that's at 1:15 in the afternoon in New York, 10:15 in the morning in LA, 7:15 in the evening here in Europe, where I am now. This is a harpsichord recital based on aspects of the legal system in England, France, and Germany, including music, spoken interludes, and poetry. Marc is an Oberlin graduate, an Indiana University graduate, was a Fulbright scholar back in the 90s, so up-and-coming guy back in the 90s, has studied with harpsichordists like Lisa Good Crawford, Elizabeth Wright, and Laura Alvini, and he currently teaches at Towson University, which is located near Baltimore and Washington, D.C. These Midtown concerts, which are put on by the Gotham early music scene, are always good quality contents. And if you want to have a good time, I think this to me sounds like a good time for those of you who love the harpsichord and want to know about the European legal system. Okay, and it's interesting that we have a number of pieces this week that are based on I hope this is still working because I have a frozen screen. It would be nice if it's everything is still working right, because this next thing I want to tell you about is very interesting too. Yes, this is another one which is not only some spoken word, it is spoken word. And a very good word it is. Thursday, June 19th, Children's Legacy Theater comes to the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage live stream with Wally Jamal Abdullah's play about an American civil rights icon, Fannie Lou Hamer, Until I'm Free. This will be at 6 o'clock in the evening, as all the Kennedy Center live streams are, Eastern Daylight Time, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, midnight here in Europe, and 8 o'clock the next morning in Australia. That is Friday morning. Wally Jamal Abdullah is a Pittsburgh-based actor, a former Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Performer of the Year, and he tells us he's the only actor in the world to have performed in all of August Wilson's 10 American Century Cycle plays. There you go. Fannie Lou Hamer was one of the iconic leaders of the civil rights movement in the United States, and she has a lot of famous quotes. She was good with words. One of them is "Nobody's free until everybody's free," which is reminiscent of the slogan of the Polish revolutionaries in the 1800s, when they were constantly being oppressed by the Prussians and the Russians and the Austrians. Their slogan was "For our freedom and for yours." And another thing she's famous for saying is, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Yeah, well, I can relate to that sometimes. So I think we all can. Anyway, this is for children. It's for children to act in and learn about the history of Fannie Lou Hamer. So I think it's a commendable project, and it could be a lot of fun for you to tune into. Kids are always a lot of fun. We then move that back to very, very now music, some of it played by a very, very young guitarist. Saturday, June 21st, Composers Concordance welcomes in Midsummer with an evening of contemporary guitar music and contemporary poetry, featuring a performance by award-winning young guitarist Nicholas Rowland, whose picture you see there beside me. This will be Saturday at 7 o'clock New York time, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 1 o'clock in the morning in Europe, and 9 o'clock Sunday morning down under in Australia. This is Nicholas Rowland won the inaugural Sean Satin Memorial Guitar Prize. Sean Satin was a dear friend and collaborator of Gene Pritzker, who runs Composers Concordance, and of a lot of other people there. So they created a prize for him, and this young man won the prize. So he'll be performing in this live stream a piece called Maestoso, like a Passacaglia, from 5 Preludes by Jay Kaufman. There'll also be a piece called For Sean, composed by Gene Pritzker. Sleepless, with music by Jane Gedder. Wissahickon Memories, music and poem by Judy Silvano. And Porque de mis sueños, Porque despertarme, music by Stephanie Susberich. But there will also be, there'll be guitarists, there'll be singers, there'll be a whole range of about a dozen poets. So this will be a very lively guitar and spoken word evening. And they tell us it's one that you won't forget. And I think this brings us down to Sunday already, which is great. As we're moving right along. And once again, back to a couple of very classical live streams for you. I mean, unimpeachably. I know there are some of you that see chamber music and you think, oh, well, that just means, you know, piano, trios, and string quartets and all that. But it also means this contemporary music, which is being created as we live and walk. And I throw in the theater stuff because I didn't have someplace else to put it. Anyway, Sunday, June 22nd, St. Mary's Perivale weekly live stream features an ambitious flute piano duo, Anna Kondrashina and Pavel Timofeyevsky. They've created their own unique collection of transcriptions of other music to play on their two instruments as a duo. That's at the usual St. Mary's Perivale time on Sundays of 4 o'clock in the afternoon European time, 10 in the morning on the East Coast, 7 in the morning on the West Coast, and midnight down under in Australia. For instance, they'll be playing Beethoven's sonata, Beethoven's String Trio Opus 9, number 1, but they've turned it into a sonata for flute and piano. And that was arranged by Kondrashina and Timofeyevsky themselves. They'll play some Elgar, they'll play some Lily Boulanger, a nocturne, some Poulenc, some Dutilleux, sonatine for flute and piano. Kondrashina has been won awards. You would think she's Chinese because she's won awards at the Kobe International Flute Competition in Japan and at the Nicolette International Flute Competition in China. I mean, she must be Chinese or Japanese, but when you look at her picture, she doesn't quite seem to look that way. She just looks like another English girl. And she performs as a principal and second flute with some of the top orchestras in England, the London Philharmonia Orchestra. And she's performed at places like Carnegie Hall, Wigmore Hall, and all of that. And she and Pavel Timofeyevsky, they have created special arrangements for flute and piano entitled Rewired Music. And it's been published by Just Flutes in London. She teaches at the University of West London and the Rachmaninoff Music Academy. Timofeyevsky is both a pianist and a composer. He's appeared at top performance halls around England, you know, Wigmore Hall, Royal Festival Hall, but also at the Shanghai Oriental Art Center. And he won a BBC Guardian Young Composer of the Year award not too long ago. And he does also composes for film and animation. He's the music director of the Devon Opera and artistic director of Notable. That will be a fine quality concert as ever at St. Mary's Perivale. we then come to the last of these what you could call specifically chamber music concerts, but then we won't be done when we come to that. Where is my? I'm not. Oh, here we are. There's a group of musicians it's the musicians for the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and on a regular basis, groups of them do chamber music recitals at different locations in Baltimore and in the Baltimore area, and they're engaged in other activities, which are just, so highly commendable. And they have a concert coming up this weekend. Sunday, June 22nd, 10 members of the Baltimore Symphony and friends live stream works by Florence Price, Scott McAllister, and Ludwig van Beethoven with community concerts at Second. And that's at the Second Church. It's at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 12:30 on the West Coast, and 9:30 in the evening here in Europe. So it's a very watchable hour in Europe. I'll give you the link to the Baltimore Symphony Musicians.org thing, so you can look them up, because I really like it when I see sort of benevolent work being done by musicians. On the program, they'll do Beethoven's Quintet in E-flat major for piano and winds, Opus 16. You'll have an oboe, clarinet, bassoon, horn, and piano on that. Then they'll do Florence Price's Moods for flute, clarinet, and piano. That's flute, clarinet, and yeah, okay. And Scott McAllister's X3. Scott is currently living, so it's a contemporary piece. And that's a piece for violin, clarinet, and piano. Again, these are, top professional musicians from the Boston Symphony, and that is certain to be a quality live stream as well on Sunday, free of charge. Everything I've told you about today is free of charge. These are gold nuggets just strewn out there online. I don't know what to tell you aside from that. Now, we then come to 3 more concerts that I want to tell you about, and I wasn't sure whether to call them, whether they really should be called chamber music or not. And all 3 of them are at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. So let me just tell you about them quickly, because they all, in addition to have organ, have other aspects to them which could be interesting. So the first of them is the organ duet Anna Vetlugina and Dmitry Maximento are back playing a program about spiritual journeys with medieval European and Russian music, accompanied by vocals, viola, harpsichord, and hurdy-gurdy, Wednesday, June 18th. We will give you the link to that and the time, and it's very interesting because you have some pieces based on Gregorian chant, and Anna Vetlugina and Dmitry Maximenko Anna is the chief organist at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, and Maximento is at the Anglican Cathedral, and they play together all the time. But they'll be playing some pieces from the London manuscript, from the Faenza Codex, from the Codex Rossi, and other things like that. So this is a very spiritual concert that you may enjoy tuning into. And then next on Friday, resident organist Marina Omelchenko leads the program with vocals, violin, and harp music by Vivaldi, Handel, Mascagni, and others related to the Ave Maria, Friday, June 20th at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. There's another fine concert where you have not just the organ, but you have harp, a mezzo-soprano, violin. They'll be playing a number of fine Ave Marias, Mascagni's Ave Maria. They'll also be playing Piazzolla's Ave Maria. If you want a little more detail about that concert as well, you can go to my roundup of organ recitals, which I did earlier today, and get more detail on that. And then finally, there's a third one. Moscow Conservatory professor Ekaterina Spirichina invites along 2 violinists to play summertime music from Italy, Saturday, June 19th on the Art Bene YouTube channel. Works by Vivaldi, Locatelli, Tartini, Chrysler, Pugnani, and Vitali. And no, that's not Saturday, June 19th. That was the time. The date is Saturday, the 21st of June. The time is 1900 European time, which is 7 o'clock in the evening in Europe, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Folks, that is all part of this week's terrific lineup, going all the way from the ongoing Rachmaninoff International Competition for pianos, conductors, and composers, and then all of the early music pieces, and the very now music pieces, and then the very classical music pieces. And then on top of that, these three mixed organ and violins, organ and harp, organ and vocals pieces coming from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. If you're just tuning in now, or you're just finding this in the replay, do listen through to the whole thing, because we are jam-packed with all kinds of interesting opportunities for enjoying free of charge, high-quality live streams this week. I hope that one, some, or any of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. And I can think of some of them that would, whether it's because you really like now music, or because you want to find out what the harpsichord has to do with high crimes and musical misdemeanors. Anyway, having said that, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn, or all of them, wherever it is that you like to tune in to us and find out more about the more than 1,000 live performances online, which we give you live links to every year. We did it in the past year, our first year in existence, and we continue to do it this year. I'm signing off now. I may be back on Friday for the weekend highlights. Otherwise, I'll be back at the beginning of next week, as per usual.